Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bashem Awashai Bashem Karkadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners, and to the Aquath that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm coming at you with another lesson in truth. And we're going to talk about the Hellenization of the Israelites today. This is the graphic novel from Frank Miller, The 300. And it took me years to find this. And I stumbled across it and I got it, and I only paid $7 for it. And it was, the going price for it was way more than that, brand new. And if you could even find it new, if it just happened to still be wrapped in plastic on a shelf somewhere, because most of these sold out, and it was really hard to get a grip on it. But what Frank Miller did is that he really captured the essence of the time period, the people, and in this comic book they show you, as you can clearly see, that with the locks, the braids, the facial features, and the brown skin, that the Spartans were a people of color and not all white males like they showed you in the movie. The movie aesthetically was horrifically incorrect. They did show you that the Persians and and all the nations of Europe and Eurasia, that they were fighting with people of color, because those were all brown complexioned people in the ancient world until Alexander conquered, until the Edomites got a full grip and ran those people off their lands, so to speak, because Alexander had already conquered. Hence the reason why the Spartans have been changed to the Greekish fashion. So let's go right into the scriptures to substantiate that. This is the book of First Maccabees. And basic, well, I'll just start at the beginning. This is First Maccabees 1:1, and it says, "And it happened that after Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Kittim, had smitten Darius, the king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead," meaning his race, all right, "the first over Greece." So he reigned over Greece, all right. And I believe that Javan was called, one of Japhet's sons was called Greece, if I'm not mistaken. And so Alexander the Macedonian, who is the son of of Philip, and Philip is the son of Agag, and Agag is a son of Amalek, and Amalek is a son of Esau. So you can trace the so-called Greek people today, Alexander's people, back to the Edomites. They are indeed Edomites. They labeled themselves Idumeans, which was what the Romans, the Grecians, was a Grecian word for Edom, for Edomites. All right, so throughout the millenniums, Esau changes his name. Because he's a vagabond trying to hide from who he is. All right, and at verse 2 it says, "And they made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth." And there's a scene in this movie when the Persians showed you the same thing. Look at this, Leonidas being shown as it looks like a little Negro boy to me, a little Hispanic boy to me. All right, in this book. But in the movie, they made him pale. All right. And you see that they were completely in the Grecian fashion, which we're going to read that, how that happened, the Hellenization of meaning me to be made white, basically. But here, you see when the, Salakia. Knock it off the table there. When you see this scene here, when the ambassador comes up for Xerxes, all right, and then they show you Xerxes, how the Persians really looked in the ancient world, all right. Xerxes was clearly a so-called, Let's see. Let's get a good image of Xerxes. I'm trying to get one when they show him big. Well, I guess we're going to have to go with this one. There we go. All right. Complete brown complected man with Xerxes. That's the scene when he threw the spear and it skimmed his face and almost killed him, almost took his head off. All right. And then Xerxes gave the order to slay them. But, you know, I just wanted to share that with you. And by the way, that image that you see on the shields of the Spartans, that's the Greek letter for L, all right, which was referring to the Lacedaemonians, which are Israelites according to the Holy Scriptures, all right, according to the Scriptures. So as you can see, the Spartans marching with their helmets. You know how Jake sit their hats up on their head? It looks like they were doing it way back then too. So he really captured the essence, you know, cornrows, beards, you know. But let's get back to the scripture. Back to Maccabees, first chapter. And it reads, and they made many, verse 2, and they made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth. All right. Come on. Get in. Come on. Salakia. It says, and slew the kings of the earth, and they went through the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations. And so much the earth was quiet before him, wherein he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up. All right. And then it says, and so Alexander reigned 12 years, then died, and his servants bare rule every one in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves, so that their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. So now they had declared themselves royalty, as they still do to this day. And the truth of the matter is that they were never royalty. All right. They, you know, Esau were always servants and handmaids and bedwenches and serfs and that whole sort of thing, which is why they uplift Alexander of Macedon, you know, the Macedonian. They lift him up to such high heights because through Alexander was the first time in the history of the world that the so-called white man came into power, that he actually was not on the bottom, because, you know, according to the Bible, Daniel 4:17, you know what, let me just get it. You know, they're the basis of men. They're the lowest form of life that, you know, of mankind that the Lord created. All right. Let's grab that. This is the book of Daniel, 4th chapter, 17th verse, and it reads, This matter is by the decree of the watchers, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. So none of these men are really ruling. The Lord really is ruling through them. You know, all these nations had their turn, including Xerxes, all right, including the Persians. So because now was the time for the Edomites to rule, all right. So they eventually took down the Persian Empire, all right. And it says by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and set up over it and setteth up over it the basis of men. All right, and setteth up over it the basis of men. So the lowest form of humankind is actually ruling the earth. Earth is given into the hand of the wicked. And that's why everything is so backwards and screwed up, because you got this low base people actually in power and running around thinking that they're royal and they're special. And the elites of them know that they're not. But the common one, that's the funny thing. These common, go to work every day, Joe Blow six pack guys and gals actually think that they're something that they're clearly not. The joke's really on them at the end of the day. All right. But it says, I'm going to jump to, verse 10. It says, and there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surname Epiphanes, son of Antiochus, a king who had been hostage in Rome and had reigned 130 years, 37th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. In those days, hold on, let me go back to verse 9. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves, so did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. So evil came into the earth when the so-called white man got into rulership. That's when the evils multiplied. All right, I should say that, because there was evil in the earth, but it multiplied and spread throughout the whole known, earth, and throughout the whole earth eventually under their rulership. All right. And let me jump to verse 11. It says, and then in those days there went out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, for since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So, and this is, and the Spartans are a portion of that, because you can see there's a scene in here when they show them walking along with the ambassadors, all the Spartan warriors. I'll see all these light brown, these brown skinned men right there. Let me see if I can use this pen. These are the Spartans, and these are the Xerxes soldiers. Even Leonidas, they're all naked. They all they have their penises out. They got on boots and cloaks and just completely naked. And you know what? And the Greeks really did that. And a lot of our people were completely and totally Hellenized. So it's very possible that's just not an artist's depiction of the time. That actually was more than likely actually true. All right, because our people were cleaving unto the ways of the heathen. All right, they were being like the heathen. All right, you couldn't tell them nothing. Okay. And yeah, here matter of fact, here's it says, let me jump up to here to verse 38. It says, no, 30. I'm gonna start at 38. It says, First Maccabees 1 and 38. And so much the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them, whereupon the city was made habitation of strangers, and became strange to those that were born in her, and her children left her. So this is how the Israelites became strangers. All right, so when the Bible's talking about the strangers that can actually receive salvation, it's talking about Israelite foreigners, strangers. Okay, and it says, her sanctuary was laid waste like the wilderness. Her feasts were turned into mourning, her Sabbaths in reproach, her honor in contempt. As had been her glory, so were her dishonor increased, and her excellency was turned into mourning. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that they all should be one people. Kind of sound familiar, right? It says, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. So so you got to understand, Greece, Rome was a mixed multitude of people, just as they show you in this book. And a good depiction of that is if you watch the Stars show of Spartacus that came out about 4 years ago, which was extremely good, by the way. All right, you can get past all because they showed you the true nature of Rome. So yeah, it was kind of, all the alphabet lifestyles and animal stuff, that crazy crap that was going on. Lots of blood and murder, because these Edomites love murder, and the Israelites were joined unto them, and so were all the other heathens. It says, also many of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrifice unto the idols, and profane the Sabbath. And the king sent letters to messengers to Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifices and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days, and pollute the sanctuary of the people, set up altars and groves and chapels and idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beast, that they should leave their children uncircumcised, all right, and make their souls an abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation. And this is how Esau gets down and operates, because he understands if we don't follow our laws, then our power won't work for us. And that's one of the ways how he got dominion and control over us still unto this day. All right. This is why they still have rule over us to this day. But the glory and the beautiful part of it is that the Lord is breaking that. All right. And it says, verse 49, to the end that they might forget the law and change all ordinances. So I'm going to wrap it up there, because I'm going to make this, I'll probably end up doing a couple lessons out of this, using this book as a reference. And we'll continue on with that and get into more of the history to prove that the Israelites, that the Spartans were indeed Israelites and of the seed of Jacob. Hence the reason why they'll never make a movie about the Maccabees, because you'd actually have to include the Spartans, And yeah. So with that, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Wakakwadash, Wa Ba Ba Ba, Kwam Yasharala.